Hey friends, welcome to Gardening with Creekside and a very cool, rainy November morning here in North Carolina. Today we are going to plant the very first annuals here in the Proven Winners Signature Garden. Very, very excited. Small baby steps here, folks. I believe you just saw Jerry had the drone and he was spray painting the outlines of the flower beds in the garden. It started to rain, so he had to put the drone up, but no fear, we're gonna put the drone back up this afternoon because that's supposed to clear up a little bit. That way you can get the bird's eye view, full perspective of the garden and all the flower beds here in this beautiful space that we are just getting ready to slam with plants in the next few weeks. Today we are focusing on the flower bed right here surrounding the fountain. The fountain, of course, is in the center of the garden. You can see the all the different outlines. Let's walk over here though and give you a perspective from when you first enter into the garden. The main entrance to the garden will be here from the shrub lot. Of course, you saw us plant these two flower beds last week. Everybody is doing fantastic. We're going to turn around here nice and slow to give you a perspective. All of the paths will be grass. We're going to start out having everybody with a lovely fescue grass. We're going to put sod down because just of the timing, and it just will give us an instant green. So that will kind of be the last final lipstick on the garden for this fall. So what you're seeing is we've got paths here and then the two paths that go off to each side. The beds are going to be exactly symmetrical. So in each corner, we've got two flower beds. The triangle, the four corners are perfect triangles. That will house a lot of the perennials and shrubs. And then we will have some annuals probably in there, especially this year. Then in front of that, we've got these really fun shaped beds that are going to house annuals. So these four inner beds will have nothing but annuals. So that way we can have lots of fun filling them in and changing them every season, every year, which will be tons of fun. Then as you come up to the fountain, there is a 4-foot flower bed. So from the edge of the fountain to this white line is 4 feet. That goes all the way around the fountain. This will always be annuals. So nice big mass planting of annuals in this space. Because it is a fall here in North Carolina, we're going to fill it up with these beautiful Color Max Purple Glow violas. Keep in mind, if you are a gardener in a cooler climate, you may be saying, Jenny, what in the world? Why are you planting violas this time of year? Those are spring annuals. Not for us in the South. In the South, we can plant these in the fall and winter, and they will go all the way through till spring. Because keep in mind, right? Violas and pansies are a cool weather annual. So for my folks who were in much colder climates, that means this is a spring plant for you. In the South, we have relatively mild winters as compared to other places of the country. These thrive in our fall and winter, early spring gardens. We have to pull them out, depending on the weather, probably anywhere sometime within the month of May, because that's when the heat hits and they hate the heat and they just do not do well at all. So then we pull them out. It is going to be really, really fun. What we're going to do, Jerry has gone to get me some land and seed because you can see that we need to build up this a little bit. So first I'm going to just fill all this flower bed in with that beautiful land and seed compost because, right, we have gorgeous red clay soil. That is our native soil. So we're going to fill that in. I've got, of course, my Biotone starter fertilizer. That is going to give these violas a great start. It, of course, has all of that beautiful amendments in there that is specifically for your root growth. These plants are going to love it. So we're going to come in, do the land and sea, biotone on top, and then I've got my power planter auger back there, and we're gonna get these violas in the ground. And then once we're all said and done, we are going to go ahead and top dress back with some land and sea. So that way the whole bed is nice and neat and finished. Very, very exciting for sure. One little thing I want to show you, well, there's a lot of things that I want to show you, but today what I'm going to show you is, if you'll notice around the fountain, right, so this is a circular path that goes all the way around the garden. And each of these 4 annual beds that are closest to the fountain, notice that they have a nice curve to them. In the center of that curve, there is going to be a bench. This came with our unique stone order this week. This is the curved estate bench from Unique Stone, and Andrew and Jackson brought them over here for me. They are out of the way so they can hang out right here, but these benches will go in front of those 4 annual beds facing the fountain. Aren't they sweet? So that way you can sit here, sit on the bench, enjoy the garden, look at the fountain. Nice kind of clean lines on these guys, and this is the ancient age, so it will match the fountain, and super, super excited about those. Now, of course, those will probably go in like absolute dead last. That's why we put them over here. They're out of the way with the other Unique Stone, and they are here. This is not going to be a construction zone. No equipment over here, so they are nice and safe. And then, you know, if we want to take a rest while we work, then we certainly can do that. All right, I hear Jerry coming with the land and sea, so we're going to get all that nice and spread out, and then we'll get to planting. So the groundwork is complete, and now the fun of the planting begins. I know that was a big amount of land and seed compost to put in that flower bed, but remember, this is brand new kind of virgin soil. It's never been planted in this garden. We've moved soil around. It needs all of that great organic nutrition, and that is why we went ahead and loaded it up with the land and seed. I'm going to mix it in as I plant my violas. That power planter auger is going to incorporate the compost, the biotone, the native soil all together, and it'll be a nice mix in there. So don't overthink it, right? You want to amend that soil. Healthy soil that has lots of great organic nutrition in there is going to feed those plants and make them very, very happy and get them started. Of course, the biotone is for that strong, healthy root system, because if you have happy roots, you have happy shoots. So what I'm going to do is going to be really simple. I'm probably just going to go around with the auger and not even put plants out yet, because I'm using all of the same plant. They're all going to be spaced relatively the same amount apart from each other. Now, I will say that I'm going to space them a little bit further apart maybe than the average recommendation is, because in less than a month, I'm going to come back through and plant tulip bulbs between these violas. Here in North Carolina, because we are a 7B, we have to pre-chill our tulip bulbs. Our winters are not cold enough for a long enough periods for me to put them directly in the ground in the fall and then have really happy, beautiful flowers in the spring. I'm getting all my spring bulbs from Color Blends this year, and they offer the service of pre-chilling the bulbs for me. I took them up on that offer, so they are pre-chilling. They're going to ship the first week of December, and then I can directly plant them as soon as they get here, and I don't have to worry about, have they had a long enough cold season here in North Carolina. So we're going to leave some room between the violas so that the tulips can go in there. So using that power planter, this is the 5-inch auger, so it's going to be the perfect size for these little violas that are in like a, I don't know, it's an 1801, meaning there's 18 plants in a flat. So we're just going to kind of rock and roll and get these babies in the ground. It may be raining, but that is not going to dampen our spirits. We are super excited to have the first flowering annuals here in the Signature Garden, even if it is mid-November and they are sweet little violas. It feels fantastic to get these sweet things in the ground. They are going to give us months of gorgeous color, even in the dead of winter and early spring. Super, super excited about it. We're also super excited about the rain. This is the first true rain we've had in a long time. Look at that, y'all. How sweet is that? So this bed will always be annuals, and I probably will try to keep it a mass planting of annuals. I just think it'll be really pretty right here to have it that way. The violas, of course, the Color Max series do really, really well here in the South because they are more heat tolerant and they are more cold tolerant. Violas and pansies are going to be full sun annuals. They need at least 6 hours of sun. They will certainly get that here in this flower bed. Violas tend to be more prolific in their flowers. Yes, their flower blooms, the petals themselves are smaller than pansies, but they have more flowers on the plant per se. They also will do a better job of blooming in the coldest months of the season, where sometimes pansies will kind of check out for us for, say, mid-January to maybe mid-February. They'll still be there, but they won't be blooming as much. Violas are more cold tolerant and can bloom more prolifically in those colder months. Again, I spaced them out so that we've got plenty of room to come back with the tulips and plant between them. The violas themselves are going to take off. They're going to get nice and big and full, but I've got plenty of time before they really start growing to get the tulips in there. The tulips will hang out unbeknownst to anybody that is around, and then come early spring, of course, they will pop up. Emily was asking me what color the tulips are, and I was like, that is a great question. Don't remember exactly, but I know that I did some blends, and they're going to be in like the pinks and the yellows and the whites, pale purples, that kind of color scheme. But my gosh, y'all, it feels so good to get like the first little annual flower bed planted. It is going to be just spectacular. And then, of course, seeing the whole garden laid out. Everybody is so excited to see this all together. Cece and Randy, we put them in charge of putting down the lines and the pins because that is how their brain works, and they are very technical and they are very precise. They just do an amazing job. Jerry and I may have ended in divorce if we had tried to do this together. I joke, but you know what? Know your limits, people. Know your the strengths of the folks around you and know your limitations, and then use people appropriately, right? So that is what we did. And even though Cece and Randy almost lost their mind, but my gosh, y'all, just so exciting. So of course, again, the paths will be a nice rich green, and then beyond this yellow tape, then this will be more, we'll still go ahead and seed it with some fescue, but it won't be sod per se. And of course, then the gardens will go out amongst and all around. So it will be very exciting. That land and sea just makes a beautiful top dress. And because this is a brand new bed, plants in it for the very first time, we really want to work on amending that soil and giving it lots of organic material and feeding these plants. With the violas, they are really self-sufficient, and because we used all of that great land and sea and the biotone, I'm more than likely will not have to do anything to them as far as fertilizers, because they have all that great food available to them. That biotone starter fertilizer, the land and sea compost mixed in and then top dressed. So we should not have to do anything to these other than if it doesn't rain throughout the winter. Of course, we can turn on the sprinklers and give them some good drink of water, because this spot does get quite warm, full sun. But man, y'all, I'm so stinking excited. The rain's gonna stop, hopefully, and Jerry's gonna put the drone up towards the end of the day. If not, if it does rain all the day, then that's great. Well, I'm not gonna complain a bit. We will get that drone footage for you so you can just see that whole perspective of how the garden is gonna lay out. All right, my friends, I'm gonna go put some dry clothes on, and as always, thanks so much for gardening with Creekside. Y'all have a fantastic day. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.